Welcome back to the show where we run you through all the Dolphins news you need to know about. After we through the news you need to know about, we run you through the fan Q&A, answer fans questions. Lots to talk about in today's show. A lot of speculation that could have been ended, which I know a lot of Dolphins fans were excited about, especially with June 2nd coming up with the with the cap space clearing. There's some other stuff going on with Tua. I think that's probably where we'll start. Excuse me. So this first news story comes from Pro Football Rumors. Tua Tagovailoa in attendance for Dolphins OTAs. Quarterback has rejected a contract extension offer. This has been reported by many different people. There have been reports that he has completely skipped voluntary stuff. There have been other reports, like Omar Kelly, to reference a source of these reports. Omar Kelly has come out, who's obviously everybody knows this, longtime Dolphins beat writer, said that he's actually seen him at the facility, so some of those reports weren't 100% true. Apparently he has missed some workouts, but not all. So there's obviously a lot going on with this whole, extension. Clearly, there's differences on both sides, or it already would have been done. I know everybody's discussed this at length. Will he get $50 million a year? Will he hit that mark? I don't think he's going to reset the market, in my opinion. I don't think so. So the fact that he's already rejected an offer, and this comes from Pro Football Rumors. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. I think this is more of a wait-and-see thing. It doesn't really concern me as a fan. He deserves a contract extension. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, and obviously, I think we all hope that. I mean, the going right now, if you look at the NFL salary cap percentage for quarterbacks, is 20%. Quarterbacks take up 20% of the salary cap. So, will he be around there? Yeah, probably. And there is a little bit of a myth when it comes to this whole thing. It just really depends on how good your quarterback is. And if you're right to give him the extension, then it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really affect your team. Because if he's a good enough quarterback to win in the NFL, then that's what you want. So this whole myth that you have to win a Super Bowl the first 5 years or 4 years, depending on when you draft your quarterback, how many ever years the rookie contract is an absolute myth, in my opinion. There's a lot of things disproving it. There's been very few teams that have really capitalized on that. Most teams win most of their championships well into somebody's career. Now, there's obviously a few exceptions to that, but most of the time, it's a quarterback that's been in the league over a rookie deal. Obviously, Tom Brady, I believe Patrick had Mahomes, I think maybe won his first one before his, but he was probably still on his rookie deal. He definitely was, now that I think about it. So there are exceptions to it, but there is a lot of evidence that you can win championships well after someone's rookie deal. So it just depends on how good your organization is, how good is your GM, how good is your quarterback. The things that we already know. So I don't think it's a death sentence to give if you pick the right guy. Now, if you sign someone like Scott Mitchell or someone like that, to a long-term deal that doesn't work out, then yeah, that's a different conversation. But I don't think Tua is on that level. I think he's a really good player. I think going back and looking at some of the stuff, I think would make you even more confident in that. So, I'm excited to see where this lands, and we'll see. I think we'll probably see on June 2nd, if I had to guess. This next news story comes from Pro Football Rumors. Dolphins wide receiver Devontae Parker announces retirement. Shout out to DP. Never really, I don't want to say never, I mean, he just wasn't consistent. But he had his moments of greatness. And he's honestly pretty high. I want to say let's right here is some of the stats. The former first-round pick spent 7 seasons in his career with the Miami Dolphins, including a 2019 campaign where he hauled in 72 catches for 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. Parker ultimately finished his Dolphins career having collected almost 5,000 receiving yards and 24 touchdowns. While Parker didn't necessarily live up to his first-round billing in Miami, he left the organization ranked top 10 in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. So there you go. He wasn't... I don't know. He was a good first-round pick, honestly. I don't think he was a bad first-round pick. Could we have gotten more out of him because of his talent? Maybe that was our fault, honestly, more than it was his fault in a lot of ways. I think you could probably make that argument. But I love Devontae. And what's funny about him is, obviously, Jarvis spent less time in Miami. And, I think Jarvis definitely with the fans. But it's funny that Devontae ended up eclipsing him in a lot of those stats in a weird way. This next news story is another contract extension stuff. Dolphins safety Javon Holland, again, this comes from Pro Football Rumors. Dolphins safety Javon Holland have not discussed contract extension. Let's see here. I'm trying to get. Here we go. An April report indicated Miami was interested in a Holland extension, and General Manager Chris Grier confirmed that is the case. Both Tagovailoa and receiver Jalen Waddle, who is set to play on their fifth-year option in 2025, represent more notable financial priorities. However, that has left Holland waiting for negotiations to begin in his case. Quote, "I'm on the back burner," the latter said when speaking about the lack of contract talks. This source was via Omar Kelly. Holland said, quote, "I don't know much. I just work here. Typical player speak. So, yeah, and to sum it up, Chris Grier has said, and I think he even brought up Holland, but obviously Tua and Waddle are priorities. I don't think anybody's is surprised by that. I mean, they have so much to work out. Even with, Jalen Phillips, too. I mean, they have a lot of decisions. I mean, they should be able to work this out. And maybe that's why this next news story is what it is. But I would hope Holland would finish and continue to play and be a Dolphin. He's a great player, way better than I thought he would be. And it's unfortunate that he got injured. And the whole Vic Fangio thing kind of was an issue, clearly, as much as they love to deny it, but then they continue to bring it up, at least the players. But yeah, so this is the most interesting story, I think, because it's very credible it happened, and I think it makes some fans upset. But this comes from Pro Football Rumors. The Dolphins will pick up $18.5 million in cap space June 2nd, after the funds from the Xavier Howard cut become available. The team will not look to free agency to make immediate upgrades, per Mike McDaniel, the third-year head coach, said via Pro Football Network's Adam Beasley. The team, which lost key starters like Howard, Christian Wilkins, Robert Hunt, and Jerome Baker this offseason, is, quote, not on the hunt for free agent help. Now, that is a devastating quote, I think, for a lot of fans, especially when you think about Dalton Risner. Justin Simmons is a huge fan thing that's been going on a while. A lot of fans want Justin Simmons, which I don't really get. Omar Kelly, I think that really started when Omar Kelly brought that up about how Justin Simmons would change the team. It doesn't really make sense if you think about it. I just don't know where unless Jordan Poyer is a backup, or one of them play in the slot or maybe a sub linebacker. I don't really understand what that lineup would look like necessarily, especially if you're going to pay someone that is pretty high when it comes to status in the NFL. I would imagine a good amount of money, unless you get him on a one-year deal. Maybe he wants to get more money down the line. So that never really made sense. I don't think that has ever really made sense. It doesn't make sense as a depth move either. Unless you kind of want to use Jordan Poyer in a different type of role, maybe more of a veteran role, where you kind of take him in and out as you choose. Maybe he's not really part necessarily of the base package. Is the only thing I could think of. But if they did acquire him, then obviously a safety safeties like with him and Holland and Simmons would be insane. That doesn't really look like it's going to happen. Obviously, according to Mike, does it seem like it's going to happen? There have been many rumors of different, things the Dolphins might do. Me personally, I was really hoping that they would at least pursue the interior offensive line market. It doesn't really seem like they are, which is kind of disappointing. I really hoped they would. Players like Dalton Reisner would have been a nice addition to the team and filled a huge hole, which I think that, I wouldn't say a huge hole. We'll see where it goes with that guard position, because I still like Isaiah Wynn, Brewer, Connor's still out there. If Connor Williams comes back, that would be a godsend, because we can move him to guard, and I don't think he would miss a beat, because that's the best thing he really did was block. He's phenomenal in space when it comes to blocking. He's a great athlete. He's a great pass protector. He's a very good run blocker too. So he's really just a good player. I hope Connor, and that would be the dream, is if he could come back healthy. But if they're not going to look through free agency, then I don't know. It's just kind of strange. Don't know what they're going to, maybe they use that money for extensions. I don't really know what they're going to do with it. Don't know. There have been rumors, and this is one of the other things I wanted to bring up, which has no credibility to it whatsoever. But could happen. I mean, it makes sense, and I think people are just literally just bringing this up because of who the Washington Commanders drafted, but I feel like I should bring it up anyway. Jonathan Allen has been circling in trade rumors, and the Dolphins have been linked. There's no credible source to it. If you look into it, there's really no hard connection there, other than the fact that Jonathan Allen played with Tua at Alabama. But and the fact that the Dolphins need an interior line, or a lot of people think they're in desperate need of an interior defensive player. Now, adding someone like him would be a great addition to the team. If they were able to make this trade, his 4-year, $72 million contract is obviously a great deal as well. He's an older player on a team that's rebuilding. They just drafted Newton from Illinois. So it makes sense. Like the Commanders don't need him. They also have Daron Payne on their roster. This is a player that they could trade and get more assets for their future. Makes a lot of sense. And the Dolphins, it just so happens, needed interior linemen. Maybe they wait till June to make a trade. I think that would be, I mean, if they were to make a trade, depending on what they would give up for him, which I wouldn't assume would be a lot, because a lot of other teams kind of filled that need already with the interior defensive line. But yeah, he would be a great addition to the team. Great run defender, excuse me. One of the best in the NFL at it. He's a good pass rusher as well. He's maybe not as athletic as Christian Wilkins, but every bit as strong, and I think a very, very, very good player. So, and would fit the Ravens defense too really well. And would help us win the division for sure. There's just no credibility to it. Like, there's nothing really connecting the team to him other than need, but we can hope. After getting slapped down by Mike McDaniel, Chris Greer, and they always say, like, you never know. So you never know. Maybe something comes up where they can make a deal. And it would be a great connection, and it would be a great deal. But they have a lot of stuff going on with all these players that they're going to have to figure out how they're going to fit the cap and all that stuff with Tua. So we'll see what happens. I hope that they do something in June, whether it's a trade or maybe bolster the interior offensive line. Would be nice. I think we all could agree on that. And adding Jonathan Allen to a defensive line rotation would be great, especially with the way that it's looking like we're going to run the defense, which I'm really excited to see that and how that looks with this new defense and a lot of new pieces on the team. There's really only, I would say, 2 question marks. I would say 3 question marks. 1, can the Dolphins get better production out of their middle linebacker unit? 2, can they find that second can they find a slot corner or another corner to play opposite Jalen Ramsey on the outside? Is that going to be Kendall Fuller, or is Kendall Fuller going to play inside? Is Cam Smith going to play on the outside and Kendall Fuller plays on the inside? That's a huge mystery, and that's obviously going to be interesting to find out what they kind of decide on. And then 3 would be, how big of a loss is Christian Wilkins, and can they overcome it with the signings that they've made? I think those are the 3 biggest questions on defense. There's really nothing else that worries me at all. I think our pass rush is still really good. With the additions we made, it makes it even better. I know people have brought up, Shaquille Barrett, not what he used to be. I think he's a better version of what Melvin Ingram was for us in 2022. I think he can do just about everything like that. Adds a really nice physical edge setter in terms of run defense, which I love, and that's what he's always been really good at. I don't think he's going to be asked to do too much anyway. So those are the things that worry me about the defense, and we'll see what ends up happening come preseason and when we actually get to see the team play. I hate training camp news. I've been doing this a long time on this channel, and training camp news is literally, I would say, 95% wrong almost all the time. And it's crazy how wrong the beat writers are. And I mean, what do they? I mean, nobody's going to dig up beat writer stuff, but it's insane how wrong they are almost every year. But anyway, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Not a whole lot of news, but there's some interesting stuff there. And we'll see what the Dolphins do in June.